Adieu, dearest Edmond, cried Mercédès, stretching out her arms to him from the balcony. The prisoner heard the cry, which sounded like the sob of a broken heart, and leaning from the coach, he called out, "Goodbye, Mercédès! We shall soon meet again!" Then the vehicle disappeared round one of the turnings of Fort Saint-Nicolas. "Wait for me here, all of you!" cried Monsieur Morrel. "I will take the first conveyance I find, and hurry to Marseille, whence I will bring you a word of how all is going on." "That's right!" exclaimed a multitude of voices. "Go and return as quickly as you can!" The second departure was followed by a long and fearful state of terrified silence on the part of those who were left behind. The old father and Mercédès remained for some time apart, each absorbed in grief. But at length the two poor victims of the same blow raised their eyes, and with a simultaneous burst of feeling rushed into each other's arms. Meanwhile Fernand made his appearance, poured out for himself a glass of water with a trembling hand, and then hastily swallowing it, went to sit down at the first vacant place, and this was, by mere chance, placed next to the seat on which poor Mercédès had fallen half fainting, when released from the warm and affectionate embrace of old Dantès. Instinctively, Fernand drew back his chair. "He is the cause of all this mystery, I am quite sure of it," whispered Caderousse, who had never taken his eyes off Fernand to Danglars. "I don't think so," answered the other. "He's too stupid to imagine such a scheme. I only hope the mischief will fall upon the head of whoever wrought it." Danglars just manipulating everyone. I'm kind of sad that Caderousse is falling for it. Fernand sticking around here, maybe the only smart move he's done so far. I feel like rushing off really only draws the attention to yourself because you're gone. So he comes back. I mean, he's nervous as hell. Guilty is written over every single inch of his body language here. And sitting next to Mercédès, like, man, he has to, like, it's easy to call people, and especially fictional characters, sociopaths, psychopaths, etc., etc. He exhibited very selfish traits before. I don't know that I would say sociopathic, but I'm put in mind. I say that because I'm put in mind of a character like Tom Ripley from Patricia Highsmith, who has been analyzed to have sociopathic or psychopathic traits. But what's interesting about him is that he has a fear of getting caught, not a guilt of wrongdoing, but there's a fear of being found out that makes him tremble a little bit. And I see that in Fernand a little bit here too. He's completely self-serving in wanting his own ends, right? He wants to get rid of Dantès so he can have Mercédès, even though she's made it very clear that under no circumstances is that ever going to happen. He doesn't care, but he is afraid of being found out here. Do we think it's going to come back and bite him in the ass? I guess we'll have to find out. Before I go much further, though, I want to continue with some of the facts and trivia about the publication of this story when it was first released. I found there's a quote on the Wikipedia page, and, you know, again, all of this over the course of the next 4 years, we'll definitely get much more context and deep dives on it than just me reading a Wikipedia page to you, but I at least found this to be pretty interesting, a reflection of what it was like reading these stories at the time. And this is by Carlos Javier Villafane Mercado, who describes the effect of reading this in Europe when it was published. The effect of the serials, which held vast audiences enthralled, is unlike any experience of reading we are likely to have known ourselves. Maybe something like that of a particularly gripping television series. Day after day, at breakfast or at work, or on the street, people talked of little else. So, kind of like this show. I mean... Not everyone is rushing out to the street to talk about the Countdown of Monte Cristo, this ridiculous, absurd project that we've undertaken for ourselves. But yeah, getting a little bit of the story each day, each week, and having it be water cooler talk. It's kind of interesting to see the impact that was having upon its release in 1844. So that's all I got for you today. I will meet you here tomorrow as we barrel toward the end of Chapter 5 of The Count of Monte Cristo. Okay, goodbye! The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.